Welcome to the Money Watch Show. It's Saturday, August 9th, and we are here trying to help you get to wherever you want to go. I'm your host. I'm part of the week, Jill Schlesinger, CBS News business analyst and certified financial planner. I am joined by my co-host and my executive producer, Mark Talercio. He is also a CFP. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Jill. Present here. Yes, I'm here.
You're here? You're good. Okay.
Yeah.
Here, good. Mark, you know, there's so much conversation about when the president fired the person who's head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And at the end of the day, here's what I want everyone to take from this. It is highly difficult to mess up numbers by civil servants that have been there for decades, okay? It is like almost impossible for me to imagine that. Even if there was something that was gone awry with those numbers and they refined them month after month, you still are left with the same situation, which is the economy has slowed down this year from last year. There are fewer jobs being created, and the Fed is worried about the fact that the economy could see a rise of inflation because of those tariffs. So, Mark, what's the takeaway for real people? Don't ignore the collision on the side of the road and keep your eyes on the road?
Well, like we like to say, tune out the noise. I mean, the Fed's going to continue to be in a wait-and-see pattern to see what happens. I think, odds are in September you're probably going to see some movement. But between now and then, just kind of wait and see what happens.
Yeah, and you know what? Let's deal with the ideas of the here and now. And what we do know is that interest rates are still at 4.25% to 4.5%. They're probably coming down pretty soon, maybe in September. I don't know. But I guess that instead of worrying about what the next move is going to be or what the next report's going to show, how about we boil this down to how does this impact you? That's really the most important part of the process. So to that end, I would like to play a segment that I did right after the Federal Reserve meeting on CBS Mornings because I really think sometimes we concentrate on the wrong thing. How this impacts you is something that is a much better focus of your attention than the political part of this. So, Mark, let's cue the segment. The anchors are Vladimir Duthiers and Adriana Diaz. This is from CBS Mornings.
What does this mean for borrowers, for savers?
Let's talk with borrowers, because borrowers have been under a lot of pressure since interest rates started to rise. And when I say borrowers, I mean anyone who's carrying a credit card balance or anyone who's going to get a new car loan or someone who's getting a personal loan. Credit card interest rates are averaging more than 21%. Averaging, that means many people are paying close to 30%. Auto loans, 7.5%, 8%. And by the way, those terms are really long. They're 5, 6, 7-year loans now. Mortgage interest rates, which the Fed does not directly impact, but it's sort of like on a general same cycle as shorter term rates, 6.75%. So it is tough to be a borrower right now. Conversely, high interest rates are great for savers. Mm-hmm. You can go online right now. You can get a savings rate for a high-yield savings account, a short-term CD, a money market, 3.5% to 4.5%.
Pretty good.
Juicy, right?
That's even better than, if you're trying to stay ahead of the S&P 500, 3.5%, 4.5%.
But those high interest rates are definitely hurting a lot of consumers who are just struggling to keep up. So I feel that pain. I understand. I hear from these people all the time. They're like, why isn't the Fed lowering rates? And the real reason is that Powell and the rest of the Federal Reserve, they are worried about resurgent inflation. That's really their big fear. Tariffs can often have a lag of 6 to 12 months, and they're kind of waiting to see whether we see the inflation rate move up.
And yet prices for a lot of consumers still remain high, and yet we got some good GDP numbers. Why aren't people seeing some of the benefits of that?
Okay, so can I just reframe the GDP? Let's forget about the first quarter versus the second quarter. Let's look at the first half of the year. The economy is growing at a more slowing pace that we can see. So in the first quarter, we had a drop. Then the second quarter, it's resurgence. Let's look at it all together. The economy is growing at about 1.2 or 1.3% annualized. That's half of what we saw last year. So we are seeing a slowdown in the economy. But because prices went up so much over the last 3 years, even if the inflation rate is slowing down, prices are still high, right? If you go up, 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 and now it's not going up by as much, but prices are still at a very tough level for people. People complain about the catch-up effect. The catch-up effect is that when something comes up for renewal and you are not used to paying that price, like your renter's insurance or your car insurance, you're like, whoa, I have sticker shock. And so we are seeing still price pressures build up.
All right. So, Mark, the thing that is very clear is that, interest rates are kind of high, but also prices could be going higher. Do you think that we are going to see any big inflationary spikes like we saw back in 2022?
No.
Not at all, right?
Not to that level, no.
I don't think so either. I mean, I think that when you look at the tariff rate, it's kind of scary, right? Because you're like, oh, we were at 2.5% before Trump took over. Now we're going to be at 17 or 18%. But that doesn't mean that we're going to see a spike it to 9%. I think that most of the economists out there think that, maybe it's going to be, maybe we go over 3%, maybe it's 3 something. But you know what happens with this, gang? It's that we all become better and adjust to higher prices. And so people start shopping around more. So I think that a few things that are on my mind about interest rates and where they are is that even if we do get a cut in interest rates, people have got to really focus on paying down their debt. Before we went on the air, I was reading Mark some statistics from the Federal Reserve Bank, and we were talking about loans, and because of the change in student loans and everything getting reported, we now come to find out that more than 10% of student loan borrowers, federal student loan borrowers, they're more than 90 days delinquent. And Mark, these are not cheap loans anymore. These are 6 and 7% loans. So how can people really start to take control and pay down some of this debt?
Well, first and foremost, if all you can do is make the minimum payment, then you have to make the minimum payment. Not making the payment is like the worst option possible. But, you really, I think, again, we talked about this before. It all starts with tracking your money and seeing where the money's going and what's coming in, what's going out, and figuring out a way to scrimp and save and put any possible extra penny that you have towards the loan with the highest interest first.
And trying to automate it. I mean, that's the really important part, is that you get everything automated. Now, I mean, we are often asked this question, so let's do it yet again, which is, if you've got a credit card balance and you're paying 22, 24, 25%, that should be the big focus of your debt pay down. Because if you had a credit card and you had an auto loan and you had a student loan, chances are that credit card interest rate is 3 times as high as the other two. And so you've got to really focus on highest interest debt, pay that down, automate every payment. As soon as one thing is clicked off, take all that money and push it towards the next highest interest loan. And, I guess one of the things that becomes difficult when you're talking about higher interest rates is that, for a lot of these people who are carrying debt, they don't get the benefit of the high interest rates, which is you're not saving. You don't have a lot of money socked away in some big old CDs. So I think that it's important that we really make sure that people who do have savings are actually taking advantage of those savings. Maybe now is the time when a CD comes due. I wouldn't wait around. And I'm worried that there's a lot of people with money in these high yield savings accounts and just plain old bank savings accounts. As interest rates come down, Mark, those are not going to be such winners after all, are they?
No, not for much longer. They're going to start to come down. So yeah, if you have money that you're not going to be needing for 6, 9, 12 months, lock it up.
All right, now I'm going to give you a thought experiment. You ready? Let's say you've got this credit card loan. It's 21%, okay? And let's also say you're unlucky and you lost your job. And you've got a little bit of money in a retirement account. Should you blow out of the retirement account, pay the tax that's due, pay the 10% penalty because you're under 59 and a half, and pay off your credit card or pay off your auto loan or pay off your student loan? What do you think about that, Mark?
I mean, that is that's the absolute last option. Avoid that at all costs. The math will prove to you that it's just a bad idea. It's very hard to recover from doing that. I know you get the immediate satisfaction of paying off the loan, which I get, I understand. And some people, maybe they have absolutely no other choice. This is what they have to do. But taking money out of your retirement account, it just sets you back.
It really does. I mean, if you had 50 grand that was in there and it's built up and you're under age 59 and a half and you're like, just send me a check. By the way, data from Vanguard was just kind of blew me away. About a third of people who leave retirement plans blow out of their accounts. 1/3. That's a lot. Now, they may not have a lot of money. Maybe it's a couple $1,000s. It's no biggie. But if you have 50 grand and you're under 59 and a half and you take that as a distribution, you're essentially going to end up with 35 grand. And you say, yeah, Jill, but I'm going to pay 35 grand down on my credit card debt. You just lit 15 grand on fire. Like, that's not a great plan. There is a reason why big pension plans, they don't let you borrow against a pension plan. They don't let you withdraw money against a pension plan. But that is happening here in the world that we live in because of the rules that are set up. I think Teresa Ghilarducci would agree with us. She is our retirement plan queen. And I really do worry that people are taking money out. And I know maybe with the right idea, pay off debt, but not that way. Not that way. The other thing that I want to tell everybody is that, before you freak out about like, oh, I can't buy a house, I want to buy a house, these are the things you need to clean up before you can buy a house. That a lot of people have said to me, like, is it possible to buy a house if I have student loans? Sure. But you also have to make sure that you're taking care of a lot of other things concurrently. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to do. Listen, the good news overall is that, a lot of what happened during the pandemic allowed people to clean up the outstanding debt that they were carrying. The bad news is it looks like it's bubbling up a little bit more again, and we want people to get out of those situations. And if you need help, and you really have an idea about how you may want to pay down some debt, and you think that you're going to be very clever and do something cool, before you do it, get in touch with us. Go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, write us a note. If you'd like to join us on the air, just check the box. Mark will do everything else. Who is Mark? Mark Talercio is the co-host and executive producer and king of all things web at the JillOnMoney.com world. And we drop our episodes here on Saturdays and Sundays. If you'd like to subscribe to us, you can do that on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. Do me a favor, okay? Do something nice for someone else today. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.